Hey everyone, I'm Greg from Cutting Edge Stencils, and I'm so excited to be hosting another show on Hometalk, the world's largest DIY community in home and garden. If you're watching this premiere on Hometalk, we'll be live in the comments section, so make sure you ask your questions and we'll give you the answers right there. Today we're doing this incredible tile floor makeover. We're at Cutting Edge Stencils in Ramsey, New Jersey. This is our shop, and we'll show you what we did here. We did this floor about a year ago, and I left a few tiles here to do so I can demo what we've done to transform these really ugly Home Depot budget tiles into this great cement tile look. So one thing we can do for you is save you 15% on all Cutting Edge Stencils for all you people watching today. Just put in Hometalk 15 in the discount code to save 15% on all your stencils and brushes and tools you need for your stenciling project. And now I'm going to take you over to the table here and I'm going to show you what you need to do this project. So the key to any project is preparation. And so the first thing you need to do is make sure your surface that you'll be painting or stenciling is degreased and deglossed. This way your paint will stick, you'll get great adhesion, it'll wear terrific, you won't be pulling off the finish with tape. So we really want to make sure we prep the floor correctly. Really what you're doing here is deglossing and degreasing. So there's a couple ways you can do that. If you really want to make sure your floor is degreased, you can use some TSP, trisodium phosphate. You mix this with some water, you clean your floor, it's going to remove all the grease, it's going to give you a nice surface ready for paint. You can also go just to something like Dawn, which is a great grease cutter. Just dilute that a little bit, wash your floor. Most household cleaners that are grease cutters will do the job. So you want to clean your floor, you want to dry your floor, and then you're ready for the next step, which is going to be probably masking. I would probably mask my floor next. So mask off the areas, baseboards, things like that, toilet, that you don't want to be painted. So I like the blue tape, 2-inch I tend to use, 1.5 is a little too small. Then we're going to just degloss, and I take some 120 sandpaper, and I know it sounds a little weird, you're going to sand the tile. You're just breaking the sheen, the gloss on the tile, which allows your paint, or really our adhesive primer in this case, to grab onto the surface of that tile. Most paints don't stick great to glossy surfaces. They're getting better these days, but if we degloss with a little sandpaper, that's going to really help. And then you really need to use a great adhesive primer. We love sticks. It seems to do the best job out there. You put a couple of coats on your floor, make sure it dries between coats, 2-3 coats, you'll be in good shape. You're going to get great adhesion. I would let that dry 24 hours before I started my stencil project. I would do my priming, and then you'd be in a place where you're ready to begin. Now, in this case, we're going with this high contrast black and white cement tile floor look. So we're using Sticks White right out of the can, untinted. Now, if you were doing something that was slightly, you wanted an off-white, you could actually tint your primer. Save yourself a whole base coating step. Apply your primer, it's already in the base coat color you want, you're good to go. You also have the option to use a paint over top of your sticks in whatever color you want. Let's say you wanted to base coat it in something like a red or something like that. You can paint right over the sticks, and that's fine too. But in this case, we're going black and white, and we're using the sticks right out of the can. So after you do your priming, you're ready to go. These are the tools that you're going to need here. You're going to need a dense foam roller. We sell these at Cutting Edge Stencils. These really are the best tool for stenciling. You're gonna get a great result with this because it doesn't hold too much paint and it has a very smooth surface. So I think one of the biggest mistakes in stenciling is people think, oh, you know, I can just use any kind of roller, any nap roller through the stencil. Well, that's not true. If you have a roller that has, it's a very hairy roller, they call that the nap. If it has a thick nap on it, that's going to have hold a lot of paint. It's going to get sloppy. It's going to push the paint underneath the edge of the stencil. You're going to get more bleed than expected. So you want to use a smooth, dense foam roller. These are great. We have them in different sizes. I like to have both the 2-inch and the 4-inch on hand, so if there's tricky spots, I have the little guy. That's great. Also, I'd like to have a set of stencil brushes here. We sell these beautiful professional stencil brushes. They're great for getting into the tight spots, the corners and the edges. So I like to have these handy. I keep a pair of scissors around because in most cases I'm going to have at least 2 stencils to work with. And as I'm working and I get to my corners and my difficult places around the toilet, things like that, at the end of the project, I would sacrifice a stencil. I would take my marker, I would mark an area that I want to cut off so I don't have a whole section to like lean up against the toilet with. I cut that right off if I know I can use it in a few places, and it's going to allow me to more easily get the stencil into these difficult spots. So I like to have a pair of scissors, a little marker. Of course you need to open your can, the paint can opener. Also some nice touch-up brushes. These are really handy because you're going to get some bleed on a project like this. Stenciling, there's always going to be some bleed. The idea is to reduce the bleed. You're going to get some, reduce it, or to touch it up and disguise it. So what I like to do is I like to take some of these soup container lids. This makes a really nice palette. And at the end of the project, I'll put a little bit of my white base coat, which is my sticks, and a little bit of my black paint that I'm stenciling with. And I'll put a little bit on my palette, and you want like a drop of water on there. You don't want your touch-up paints thick. You want to slightly dilute them and do what's called palette the brush. You mix that together like this, and it's going to evenly place the paint in the brush, and it's going to allow it to flow much more easily, and it's going to make your touch-ups easier. They're going to look better. Also, we've got some clear coats that we'll be using at the end of the project. And I have an oil-based clear coat, and I just wanted to show it to you, and I just wanted to explain something about it. We really are going all water-based these days. You know, back in the day, it was all about the oil. These are too yellow. They will completely yellow your floor. So if we're going for a black and white floor, it's not going to be at the end of it. It's going to be a yellow and black floor. So also the smell is really bad. The cleanup's difficult. So I don't even want to use this, but I did want to tell you that it's there. But they make such great water-based clear coats these days. They're so durable. This floor is at least a year old, and we have no wear through it. So I would recommend that you use something like a Varathane. I know Benjamin Moore has beautiful clear coats as well. Minwax also has water-based clear coats. I think everybody does. So you want some paper towels, because what we do is we take off a few paper towels and then we fold them like this. So this is basically 2 paper towels. We fold it, and this will be for offloading our roller after we load it with paint. What you want to do, it's a key step, you want to remove a percentage of the paint. You want it to almost be dry. This is also going to help reduce bleed, because if you have too much paint on here and then you go on and start stenciling, it starts to push the paint underneath the edge of the stencils, get all that bleed. Now you're going to be touching up all day. It's no fun. So that's what that's for. I think we've covered the tools. I wanted to talk to you about the stencil for a second. Now this is cutting edge stencils, Wusta stencil. That's what we used on the floor. It happens to be the medium size, which is an 8-inch, and we've got a lot of questions about these areas here, these little spots here and here and here. And what this is these are registration marks, and I'm going to show you how those work right now. You would not use those registration marks if you have a tiled floor that has individual tiles on it. You're just going to drop your stencil down and just center it on your tile, and that's how you register it. But if you have a cement floor or a plywood floor or something that is not broken into 8-inch squares, you really need some way to register, and that's what these are for. And I'm going to show you how that works right now. I'm going to put this one aside. I have one that we've already applied spray adhesive to. Word about the spray adhesive, and I got a couple of them here. Any good repositionable spray adhesive should work just fine. And what you want to do is you want to evenly coat the back of the stencil, and then you want to do that outside because the smell is not good and it's not good for you. So do that outside. That's what we did. So I have a couple in here that I've already done. So what I want to show you on this piece of cardboard is how these registration marks work. This way you can understand if you're doing a floor that's not individual tiles. So I'm just going to place this down here, and so you can see we've got these extra pieces right here. And now I'm going to show you, I'm going to load my roller, and you want to load your roller evenly. So I'm slowly loading the roller so it evenly coats, so I don't have all the paint on one side and no paint on the other side. I want it even. And then I'm going to roll it a few times to help disperse the paint into the roller head itself. And then I'm going to offload it on the paper towel 1 or 2 times. And that's going to get me a really nice, slightly dry foam roller. Okay, so we'll come over here. Now I'll stencil this. And I'm going to use light to medium pressure. So I'm not pushing down too hard, because the harder you push, the more chance you'll be pushing paint under the edge of the stencil, and we do not want bleed. Make sure you tell us where you're tuning in from. We're here in New Jersey, 30 degrees today. Already planning my trip to a palm tree somewhere. All right, so here we go. I've got this evenly done. I didn't push too hard. You build it up slowly. Try not to roll over the edge of the stencil. Be conscious of that when you're doing this. Okay, so I've got this one started. Now what you'll see, okay, so you've got your tile and you've got these little registration marks. So this is what they're for. Now I'm going to take this stencil, I'm going to place it right on those registration marks, and I'm registered and I'm ready to move on. I'm going to load again over here evenly. I'm going to once again offload the roller. Nice dry roller. And now I can paint this, roll this again, do another stencil print. And it's self-aligning. It's really a great feature in a lot of the cutting edge stencils that we have. We make them self-aligning so you don't have to sit there with a level and a ruler and trying to figure out how to make this pattern interlock. It does it all by itself. And for all you watching today, you can save 15% at cuttingedgestencils.com by putting in Hometalk 15 in the coupon box at the end at checkout. Save yourself some money on some stencils. I would recommend, if you're doing a project like this, getting a few stencils, a few tiles. See how that lined up? And so as I continue, I'm just going to use those registration marks, and it self-aligns. But for our project, we have 8-inch tiles, so I'm just going to be centering this on the tile. But what am I going to do? I'm going to tape over the registration marks because I don't want to be double painting them. So I'm just going to tape those with a little bit of blue tape, and we'll actually center the tile, center the stencil on the tile. We're going to move into the bathroom. I'm going to show you how to do these couple here. I'm going to bring a couple of tools in there with me. So follow me into the bathroom here. So we've got our floor. It's 99% done. I saved 2 tiles here. This is the base coat, the Sticks base coat, Adhesive Primer, and I have a stencil that I've already applied spray adhesive to, and then I taped over those registration marks because I've got 8-inch tiles and I'm just going to center it on here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to center this tile. And I think I got to put on my glasses. Thanks goodness they're right here. Okay. So center your tile right on, center your stencil on the tile. I have spray adhesive on there. Lightly press it down. And we're ready to stencil this. Same procedure that we just did. We're evenly loading the roller and then offloading the roller because we really don't want too much paint on here. It's the biggest mistake in stenciling, too much paint on your tool, whether it's a roller or a brush. That's the biggest mistake because it ends up bleeding. So I'm gonna lightly press first, because if I press too hard, I'll get too much bleed. And I start to distribute this. I'm not looking to do it in one pass. I'm looking to slowly build it up. That's the way to get the best effect when you're using one of these foam rollers. You slowly build it up. So make sure you ask your questions in the comments section, and we'll be happy to answer those. We're live in the comments section. And tell us what kind of projects you'd like to see here on Hometalk, and we'll try to set those up for you and show you the professional way to do those. So I'm slowly building this up. And starting to get coverage here. Very nice. So where are you guys tuning in from? Tell us where you're tuning in from. Someone in Hawaii? I'm ready to meet you over there. Okay, got this going on. Almost there. There is this tendency to want to go faster, to push harder. You have to hold back a little bit because you want to keep the bleed to a minimum. If you do get some bleed, don't get freaky about it. We're going to pull out some touch-up paint and the brushes, and you're going to touch that up before you put your final clear coat on. That's what's so great about stenciling. It allows you this opportunity to correct. Even if you made a total error with this or made a mistake, you just paint over it again and start again. It's not like you can't do that. One thing I want to mention about this project is, can you imagine if we actually had to demo out this bathroom and destroy the existing tile with sledgehammers and the dust and the mess? You would be looking at just an absolutely monster project. Everything would be covered with dust. It would be very expensive, and this is such a great solution. And it really just became popular in the last few years as paints became more durable and clear coats and top coats became more durable. This became more feasible to do. But we're thrilled because we don't want to deal with the mess of demoing this bathroom. And let's just talk about the cost for a second. This whole bathroom can be done with a few stencils, a couple of quarts of paint. Probably do this in the under $200, probably $150 or something. You could do this project, and you're never demoing and tiling this bathroom for that. So here you go. I think I'm just about ready to do a reveal on this. Okay. Let's take a peek. Oh yeah, I'm liking it. So look at that. Another thing is, if you have a little fade happening in your stencil, it's desirable in my opinion. It gives a little movement, it gives some depth, it doesn't look so static. It's awesome. So this dries so quickly because we put on so little paint that we don't really have to wait. We can move right on to the next stencil. So I'm going to do that to the next tile. I'm going to move right in here. I'm going to center this right on the tile, just like I did. Lightly pat it down. We'll do this one. Same thing. I'm going to evenly load the roller. Then I'm going to kind of distribute the paint on the roller here, like that. And then again, offload, take the majority of the paint off, move over to the stencil, and start building it up. You can see that anybody can do this, but you really need to know a couple of basic techniques, and that's what we're trying to teach you here today. Because you could be really frustrated if you were using the wrong roller, the wrong brushes, you didn't use spray adhesive. There's little things that could go wrong, and it's so easy to educate yourself about that before you get into the project so you can do this and have it be a success. So you got some questions for us? Give us some questions here. We're happy to answer them. And also tell us what kind of projects you'd like to see on Hometalk, the largest DIY community. Look at this. This is just going fabulous. Very satisfying too, to do your own project like this, to do it in a weekend instead of hiring a contractor to come in for weeks and destroy the piece of your house. So look at that. I'm going to call that pretty done. And I'm going to peel that. And there you go. This is how easy it is to do a bathroom tile makeover. So we'll pull this stuff out. I'm going to go back to the table for a second. I'm just going to talk to you about the clear coat. Here we go. Was that easy? I think it was. Do we all understand registration? I think we do. Now look, we're going to do the clear coat. I don't think I'm going to do it for you right now because I want this to dry. But I'm just going to use a dense foam roller the same way. If you use a big roller, it's going to add a texture. We're not looking for a texture. We're looking for a nice smooth finish. So we'll use, again, the dense foam roller because it's going to give us the smoothest finish. And you apply that. I would apply 2 coats at least, at minimum. And you should be good for a long time. Now, in a couple of years, if you feel like it, you can add another coat or 2 of clear. This is your layer of protection for your artwork. So put a couple of coats on there. Don't be cheap with that. And that's it. That's it. That's how easy that project is. I hope you enjoyed this project on Hometalk. I hope you go to Cutting Edge Stencils and you save yourself 15% by putting in Hometalk 15 in the coupon box and checkout. And I hope you ask your questions in the comments section and let us know what projects you'd like to see on Hometalk in the future. Thanks so much. Have a great day.